Relate to me again in detail, O Janārdana, Krsna, of your power and the manifestation, for I am not satiated with hearing your nectar-like speech. Arjuna asked Sri Krishna to tell him again in detail about Sri Krishna's power and manifestation. At this moment, Arjuna is at the highest point of feelings. Arjuna wishes to know Sri Krishna in his complete form. That is why everything Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna seemed too little to Arjuna. Arjuna has a wish that Sri Krishna will tell him more and more. Arjuna is not getting satiated with hearing the nectar-like speech of Sri Krishna. This is the ultimate greatest state of wisdom. When can one attain such wisdom? When one is not satiated by listening to it. While one is not satiated, then they wish to continue to listen to more and more. But when one is satiated, then they do not want to listen to it. When you sit down to eat and there's a nice ice cream, then you will eat 1 helping, 2 helpings, 3 helpings, and while you are not satiated, you will keep on eating more and more helpings. You would have eaten 5 helpings, 7 helpings, 8 helpings or more. Then you have had enough and are finally satiated. Now you do not want it anymore. Now that you are satiated, you give up ice cream. Arjuna is not satiated and with hearing Sri Krishna's nectar-like speech, and that is why Arjuna is prepared to take more and more. Now that you are satiated, you give up the ice cream. But Arjuna keeps wanting to hear more. That is why atrupati, no satiation, is a quality. If I were to say it in simple language, then atrupati is a fault. A person just isn't getting satisfied. We say that this person has been given so much and still he is not satiated. But when listening about the Leela, divine plays of God, for the attainment of wisdom, atrupati is not a fault, but a quality. The scriptures talk about it very nicely. The majority of the scriptures have 2 main faults. Punarupti, repetition, and atrupti, no satiation. But when talking about scriptures, these 2 become qualities. The punarupti, repetition of scriptures, is a quality when there is a very nice principle, event, or very nice leela, divine play of the Supreme Soul. Is the punarupti of this a fault? No, because it becomes a quality. We just keep listening about Sri Krishna's leela in the 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad. We have had them once, twice, 3 times, but we never get satiated by listening about them. This becomes a quality. Punarupti is a quality. Not only that, but on a path of knowledge. When one has to do is explain a principle, then when they say it for the first time, we think that they understood everything. But when we go outside, then our states are wiped clean. We'll hear about them a 2nd time, a 3rd time, a 4th time, a 5th time. And punarupti keeps taking place so that it becomes steady in the end. With the scriptures, punarupti is not a fault but a quality. Also with the scriptures, atrupti, no satiation, is also not a fault. When talking about the world, atrupti is a fault. When talking about bodily pleasures, atrupti is a fault. When talking about scriptures, atrupti is not a fault. In fact, it is a qualification. Arjuna shows that he has met this qualification here in this verse when he says that, Lord, I am not satiated with hearing your nectar-like speech. Not only in scriptures, but also in love. Where there is a field, there is a field of feeling, then even there, punarupti is not a fault, and atrupti is also not a fault. When a husband meets his wife for the first time, then the husband tells his wife that she looks very beautiful. The wife stores this sentence in her memory. After 10 years, the wife asks the husband how she looks. The husband asks the wife why she is asking this. The wife asks the husband to tell her what he told her 10 years ago. Is this punarupti a fault? No matter if there are no circumstances left to say it on both sides, but still, punarupti in this is not a fault. When there are feelings in love, then punarupti is not a fault. And atrupti, when a lover says that we have done a lot of love now you go, then this trupti, satisfaction, in love is a fault. Atrupti, no satiation, is a quality in love. It is clearly written in the Ramayana later on in the scripture where Sri Ramchandraji has been coronated and there is a conversation between Sitaji and Sri Ram. Poets write it very beautifully. Their whole lives have gone. They have been married, they went to the forest for 14 years. They came back and they have been married for 15 years at that time. What is the state of marriages after 15 years today in today's society? Think about this and compare it to this at a time when it was lost, and Sitaji said that it was as if I came from Janakpuri, the city of her father, yesterday. After 15 years of marriage, Sitaji said that she felt as if she had come from Janakpuri. This is atrupti, no satiation. Love only lasts when there is atrupti. This is a characteristic of love and feelings. It is also a characteristic of wisdom. Punarupti and atrupti are qualities of love, feelings and wisdom. Arjuna says here, Lord, I am not satiated. Because there is no satiation, the Lord showers down. When there is absorptivity in the ground, then water will keep getting sucked in as it falls. But when the ground becomes satiated, then the water which falls from above gets repelled and does not go inside. In the same way, when the mind of the pupil is unsatiated, then no matter how many words and how many speeches comes on the Supreme Soul, it keeps getting absorbed and sucked in. But when the pupil's mind is satiated, then no matter what God says, it will go through one ear and come out the other. The people not get satiated after reading for 2 hours. The Lord's word will come from the next verse. When Arjuna made this request to hear about the Lord's divine manifestation, then from the 19th verse, the Lord began describing his divine manifestations.